Great. So welcome, everyone, to the Nigerian Focus Spotlight. Nigeria has a spotlight at the Abu Dhabi Art Fair this year. It's very exciting for us. It's a collaboration with Department of Art and Culture, Abu Dhabi, and of course the Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy. And it's enabled this platform to happen and this collaboration to happen and us to be showcased at the Abu Dhabi Art Fair. And with me, I have three of our gallerists that will be attending the fair in just a few days. So I'd like you all to just quickly introduce yourselves. We'll start with Soosa and then Kavita and then finally Richard, and then we'll get straight into it. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you for joining the session as well. We're looking forward to really sharing with you what's happening in Nigeria. So Soosa, you can start first.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and to be participating in the fair. My name is Soosa Omoruogbé. I'm the director of the 1897 Gallery. We are a curatorial platform and we primarily support and champion artists from across the Black and African diaspora. And we also run a robust advisory division as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Kavita.
Hi, I'm Kavita Tchalaram. I'm the co-founder of of Co-Gallery in Lagos, Nigeria. And we champion modern and contemporary art. And our presentation this year is going to be modern art from the Oshogbo region, the Oshogbo School.
Thank you. And finally, Richard. Last but not least.
Last but not least, hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. My name is Richard Vedlago. I'm the founder and head curator at Windsor Gallery. Windsor Gallery is a Pan-African platform that champions African contemporary art on the continent.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. We're going to get straight into it, as I said. I'm going to start with Kavita, because Kavita, you've been to this fair, a few times now. It was your third or fourth time, I think. So I think for you, what does it mean to have this sort of dedicated spotlight on Nigerian art in the region?
Well, I think it's really important that so many of us are going this time because we've been the only ones for the last 4 years coming from West Africa. There have been some other African galleries, South African, but we were the only ones that were doing Nigeria and Nigerian modernism. So basically we were showcasing our program, which is modern and contemporary. So we always had a contemporary artist with the moderns. So it's been really an exciting journey and we're really happy to be back at the fair this year with the Nigerian spotlight.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kavita. And I think, Soosa, for you as a young gallery, what are you looking forward to? And, in terms of just like coming to Abu Dhabi, coming to the Middle East to showcase Nigerian art, and maybe tell us a bit about how you sort of made your selections as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for us, we're very young. The gallery is only a year and like 1 month old. So this is our second fair, which is quite a big endeavor. So we're excited about it. It's my first foray into the Middle East through the gallery, but I think that, and have always thought that there are such strong synergies between the African story and the Middle Eastern story. And so when choosing artists for this, I approached it as a curator, which was what I was before I became a gallerist. I wanted to choose artists who I thought would represent our story well, but also resonate with the region that we're going to. And so with Joseph and Samuel, they have two very distinct visual languages, and they speak to, the works that we chose speak to the land and the sky and the meeting points of those two, sort of the meeting points between Nigeria and Abu Dhabi in this case. And they both speak to collaboration and hope and those futures that we forge. So yeah, very excited for the fair, and I think the works will speak for us and speak to the audience.
Fantastic. I mean, I think it'd be great to see some of the works. Can we have them up?
Oh, not supposed to. Yeah. Okay, so this is Bridge to the Future by Joseph Aino. So the works that be exhibiting from Joseph are landscapes mainly, and he has this very beautiful and evocative way of depicting land and sky and those meeting points. So Bridge to the Future actually depicts that. So it's meant to call into question for the viewers where we are now, the path that we have to walk through to get to where we're meant to be. The road less traveled, but the road that is necessary to travel. And this comes in a series of about 5 that we'll be exhibiting. They're smaller works, and you really need to engage with them on a close level. And the idea for Joseph was that it would make viewers, by that act of coming forward and engaging with the work in an intimate way, it would then evoke their own personal experience and think of what their bridge to the future is and what bridges they have to traverse.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And is there a reason why you chose this particular artist?
Yeah, so for Joseph, I have been wanting to work with him for a while, and I thought that his works made me feel hopeful. And I loved the way that he does landscapes, but does them in a different way. I think that he is emblematic of just the innovation and the uniqueness of young Nigerian artists. He, of course, lives in London, so there's that diaspora angle. I wanted to represent artists that live on the continent, but also live abroad and show the depth and the breadth of our practice. Yeah, and
Thanks so much. I think you've got some conceptual works as well. So it'd be nice to kind of have a look at those and just sort of speak a little bit into that sort of in Sukha school, where, of course, Samuel is from, and what they're really about. I think they definitely have a definitive look. You can pretty much tell when you see the works from the school. And so I think just speak a little bit into Samuel's works. He's become quite a popular artist globally. I see his works in quite a few art fairs around the world. And it's a very sought after artist. So just tell us a bit about this body of works that you're actually bringing to the fair.
Yeah, everything you said about Samuel is right. Again, I think he's an incredible artist, and I love the way the works feel and what they represent. So Samuel's works speak to land, speak to material culture and history within Nigeria, but in Africa as a whole. When I was doing my research, I was thinking of what would be applicable again in the Middle East, but also for Nigeria. And both regions have such rich material histories, and I wanted to draw upon that here. Samuel's works are created from, recycled Ankara scrap material, and then he creates this beautiful sculptural piece. And it's these little scraps that form a wider whole and make me think of human beings, as myself as a human being, an individual, but also the role that I play as part of the larger whole. In fact, both his work and Joseph's works really evoke collectivism, but also the importance of your own unique story. So here Samuel is, doing just that. Again, the classic techniques that you see, that's the sort of reminiscence of the Sukha school, but he makes it his own. He's very deliberate with the materials that he chooses, from the color to the actual type of fabric, which I thought and think is very interesting. And I think that for the fact that we're moving to another region, his works, by learning about his work, you not only learn about who Samuel Norum is, but you learn a lot about the Nigerian story. If you're inquisitive, you can start to think of where these fabrics are from, the waste and recycling, but also the origins of Ankara fabric that is mainly not produced in Nigeria, but has become, a symbol for us. There's also a lot of hope in the works, and I thought that was very important to depict.
Thank you, Soosa. I think you're right. I think once you see this and you understand what Ankara means, it kind of points you to a cultural context of West Africa, of Nigeria. So these are really beautiful works. And I think once you see them live, I think there'll be much more appreciation of them. So thank you so much for sharing. That was absolutely wonderful. So I think Kavita's not online now, but I think, let's have a few images of the works that we'll be showing. Amazing. Super exciting. Are you back on, Kavita?
I'm back online. Can you see me?
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I can see you now. Welcome back. So Kavita, I mean, you have been such a, a big promoter of modern Nigerian art, and you have over the years really showcased Nigerian modernism, as it were. And of course, we have the exhibition going on at the Tate Modern at the moment, and some of your work is in the collection. And I think as we look at Nigerian art history in general, there's so many different schools that speak into who we are and what we've become in terms of the art landscape of Nigeria. The Osogbo School is one that we cannot ignore. It's something that so many wonderful artists have come out of. Apart from the art, also the performance, when we think of Moreno and, Professor Gundele. So you're looking at Osogbo for this exhibition, and you looked at Osogbo over time. And also I know that Mama Nike is also doing a wonderful installation from the Osogbo School. She's a very iconic figure. You will not miss her at the fair. I think she's been before. She's a wonderful mother to us all. So I wanted just you to speak a little bit into your reason for bringing the spotlighting Osogbo for this particular fair, and a little bit. Let's talk a bit about the installation in Alen, which is there was, apart from doing the Nigerian showcase, there's also a commissioned exhibition which was going to be in the fortress in Alen and the Oasis. I'm not sure where we decided to use in the end, but I've been to both locations, and I know she's doing something very exciting in the spaces. So we'd love to hear more about the Osogbo School, and also particularly about Mama Nike's installation. And we really want everyone to really come out to Ellen as well and really see what she's done and enjoy the kind of the interaction between performance. I mean, Osogbo is also a place of performance art as well as visual art. So just talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, we've sort of tied them together. We had Mama Nike last year in Abu Dhabi, and we had great success. She's absolutely incredible energy, and we sold pretty well everything that we had over there. And then the Abu Dhabi Art Fair asked her to do an installation in Alen, and she's actually left already, and she's going to be setting up 2 large fabrics. And as you mentioned, there's performances. It'd be wonderful if everyone could make it out there. It's an oasis. Palm trees and faces, and it's going to be a big sort of fabric installation. We're very excited about it. She's very excited to do it. And it kind of, it goes with what we're doing. So she is an Osogbo artist as well. It was a school that started here in Nigeria in the 60s, 64 to be precise, where there was a workshop done by Georgina Bayer and Uli Bayer, and they taught people who actually had not been taught at university, but drummers, performance artists, theater people, and they all learned, they were just given materials and said, do something. And so they all created all these incredible works that we're going to be showcasing. And, some people use beads, and everybody was individual. They were told to be individual. Georgina said, don't copy anyone. You all have your own style. And so there were some that were painting on canvas. Twin 77 did works on wood, and we've got this show where we're highlighting Twin 77, who was actually the husband of Mama Nike at one point in his life. And so they were working at the same time together, and he started doing these amazing wood works where he cut pieces of wood, made it and then stuck them on. And so they're 3-dimensional. Some of them are just flat, and then he goes on to, in the early 70s, doing the ones which are 3D. And this is an incredible work, which is called Enunciation, that was done in 1972 by Twin 77, showing, an angel, just showing Christianity, that's there with the folklore and the traditional religion. So it's quite a nice work that depicts the religion here at the time with Christianity that was becoming such a large force in the continent. We have lots of artists that we're bringing. We're bringing Rufus Agundile. We're bringing Morino, who's actually behind us. This is Rufus Agundile. So he did canvases and works on board with pigment and acrylic. He died when he was 50 years old, but he was quite prolific and did a body of works. And he was one of the first that actually went to the school. So he was quite, and they just thought he was so good. So Uli Bayer in the 60s and the 70s used to have exhibitions abroad and took them abroad. So they went to Germany, they went to the US, and he was really big on promoting what was happening in the continent, what was happening after Nigeria gained independence. And, it was happening at the same time as the modern movement, which we've showcased in Abu Dhabi before. We had brought Obiora Odichukwu and Bruce Onabrakpai, and it sort of complements our program. So these works were being done at the same time, but one was being done by workshops in Oshogbo, which is near Lagos, about 3 hours away. And then the other movement started off in Zaria, which is in the north of the country. And they were being taught by English tutors. And each part of it, what it shows is, fine, the ones that were taught in school rebelled against just doing landscapes and just doing it the British way. They then wanted to show what was happening in Nigeria at the moment, the Uli symbols, the move, the traditions of Nigeria. So they incorporated it into their works with canvas. What Georgina Bayer was like, take it from your imagination, just bring it out, just bring whatever you feel. And it was pure Nigeria that comes out of the Oshogbo school. There are a couple of other artists. I don't know if any more images are going to come up, but we have Morino Elami. So he did landscapes as well as boards. In fact, right behind me, we've got Elami right behind me. So he did women, he did houses, and again, they were oil on hardboard, and then he went on to canvas and he did paperworks. He was actually a performance artist and then became a painter, which he's still doing till today. And in fact, he came with us. We took him to London because he features in the show at the Tate in the Oshogbo School. So he came with us. So Chief Baraima, Morina, and Nike came to the UK to represent the Oshogbo School.
Thank you so much, Kavita. I think for me, the Oshogbo School, the work is just so timeless. I think I particularly love Morino and Rufus Agundile. Their works they obviously steeped in like Oshogbo School. You can tell they're from Oshogbo, but they could sit anywhere in the world quite comfortably. So I think it's going to be a wonderful show at your space, looking at what you're presenting. And I think it's really important for, as I said, sort of Nigerian art history in general, just to showcase this school. And so thank you for sharing. So Richard, so I mean, just thinking about it, what sort of themes or movements do you feel are kind of currently defining Nigerian contemporary art at the moment? And maybe using that to speak into what you're showing. What do you think? What are the sort of the themes that you think are like important, and what's defining about who we are, what we're showcasing as galleries, working with Nigerian artists? What are your thoughts around this? And then also, obviously, please share some of the works that you'll be showing.
Of course. Thank you so much, Tola. Look, I think today we are at a sort of cultural shift when we think about what's happening in Nigeria, especially. I think with the participation of a whole sort of group of people that have never really had platforms to engage with across the board, we're now seeing a sort of a shift in perception. New artists are coming in with their points of view. And I think, again, sort of referencing where the zeitgeist is today in Nigeria in regards to what pop culture is and how that's now shifting ideas and access to sort of the global influences that we've also participated in. I think we're now seeing something that's quite exciting. I think today we're seeing a lot of self-taught artists coming into the space, and they're bringing their own sort of techniques and points of view. And again, I think, you know, today we're experimenting a lot more. Historically, of course, certain schools have sort of built out different sort of techniques for different artists. And I think that today we are actually at a point where we're experimenting things like, of course, like Sosas is presenting Samwell. You know, we're now seeing a cut across into textile. We're seeing a cut across into sculptural work that's a little bit more experimental. And we're really seeing a convergence of multiple ideas coming into to really define and to actually give a wide breadth of choice in regards to how people engage with contemporary work from the continent.
Thank you so much. So we're great to see some of what you're presenting, actually. Can we see your works? Ah, lovely.
Cool. So yeah, this is Ayola's piece. This is a new body of work that he's been developing for the last couple of years. He first showed this in South Africa at Investec. And basically this kind of comes back into sort of referencing our sort of identities. So it's quite a textual piece. Again, every dot symbolizes stories in our shared cultural sort of history in Nigeria. So I found it very, very, very contemporary and very interesting as a body of work. Even the color referencing and the way that he intermixes colors and just brings out sort of a modernity to the piece, even though the technique is something that, of course, we've seen historically down sort of the history of art in Africa. But I just thought, you know, I think this is an interesting body of work and shows again sort of the expansive nature of how contemporaneism really is now shaping our points of view and how we're able to look at work without having definition associated to it and actually make our own emotional connection with the body of work.
Thank you. When I look at this, I mean, it reminds me a lot of like our local sort of fabrics, particularly like ashoke. I grew up from and my mother's an ashoke designer. So when I look at this, it reminds me so much of like, you know, the colors. I mean, it could be any color, right? Ashoke is so versatile. So is there any reference to, you mentioned the textiles, but is there any reference to that in particular, or is it just sort of quite generic, would you say?
I mean, he everything that Ayola does is quite sort of intentional and specific. So of course the dots represents, as I mentioned, different stories that have all shaped our cultural narrative. So, you know, he's really sort of looking at it as a sort of bringing together of unified thought and sort of taking also back into time to stories that have shaped our identity today in Nigeria. So, you know, whilst of course the reference, of course, on textile, and I can definitely see that that comparison. But of course, you know, this to me symbolizes where we are today in Nigeria. It's colorful, it's bright, it's textural. You know, it's bold. It just gives me sort of you know, a feeling of sort of excitement what the future or what's in store in the future for Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Richard. So I just want to just talk a little bit about what's happening at home and how important, you know, we feel, you know, showcasing our work at these international fairs. How do we balance that kind of local growth with the international exposure that allows the artist to be seen globally? I'd just like to, you know, just some thoughts around how, I mean, obviously this is like a new region. I think Kavita's been here a few times. I think it's a new region for most of us. And, you know, how important is it to bring our artists to these sort of regions and get them sort of to the viewers to engage with our works and show who we are through art, really, versus sort of, you know, maximizing their name locally. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a versus thing. I think it's something that has to be done in tandem. I do believe in sort of establishing yourself at home and establishing a collector base, viewership, honing your skills locally before prioritizing international exposure. But I think the two need to be done as well. And I think that it's very important to bring our artists and give them bring our artists out of Nigeria and give them a wider audience and, you know, put them in conversation, in unlikely conversations. That is the only way that we can sort of disseminate our culture and foster understanding and collaboration across borders, you know. And so artists can be, of course, Nigerian artists, African artists, but then by, you know, putting them on a global scale, they just become artists, and that's how we match up their price markets and their prestige to, you know, the world, and that's how we scale. But it is super important and has to be done as well as, you know, establishing ourselves at home and growing our markets, because we need to have our institutions and our own things. We cannot be reliant, and no region should be reliant on, you know, foreign or external forces. That's what I think.
Thank you, Sوسا. I think you're right. I think it's just so important for us to just cross-explore the different countries, seeing what other countries are doing and where they're going. I think why these art fairs are so brilliant, you know, why when we go to Abu Dhabi now, we won't just see a Nigerian focus. There's a focus on a little bit on Russian art, and last year was something on Indian art. So I think it just makes it very exciting and interesting to see what other people are doing as well. And sometimes the context is ours, but the narratives can be kind of shared across different regions. That's always kind of interesting to see as well. So what's your view on this, Richard? How important do you think it is for us to get our artists? I think we're probably all generally, we have a general consensus and that it is important, but to what extent do you think it's important for us to, you know, because we have quite a young market in Nigeria. Our industry is quite young. It's quite a young ecosystem, which we're all kind of trying to contribute to. But, you know, given where we're at, how important it is for us to also just ensure that we're going out and the artists are being seen globally?
I think, you know, of course, I think it's important to consistently shift the narrative. And I think, you know, of course, historical preconceptions that I've had around what we produce as a nation or we produce in Nigeria, I think this gives an opportunity to really push that envelope a bit further out and show the diverse sort of points of view that we have. I mean, you know, Nigeria is 250 million up with how many different ethnicities and how many different tribes and how many different sort of religions that are sort of embedded in our culture. So this actually allows us to go out through the artistry and through the cultural sort of referencing that every artist presents through their body of work, allows us to sort of go deeper into the conversation of how diverse we are. It also allows us to be essentially ambassadors. We are essentially, by going out and pushing our cultural narrative, we are essentially ambassadors, and we're also promoting things that are happening in Nigeria. So the opportunity to engage with an audience who might not know much about Nigeria, about what's happening culturally or what's happening economically in our country, I think this gives a really, really good opportunity to start engaging and getting people to actually want to come to the continent. We have, you know, Artex just had its 10th anniversary this year, which is the largest, you know, art fair in West Africa. So it's a good opportunity to spread the gospel. And I think it's a responsibility that we all have through the artistry and the selection of works that we do, and as well as us as gallerists, to be able to really push on what's happening on the ground.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I think you're right. I think we're such a big nation, and people kind of have this blanket of, you know, African art. What's African art? You know, and each region is so different. You know, there's North Africa, South Africa, West Africa, you know, East Africa, and we all have different ways of, you know, talking about, speaking about the country rather. And I think obviously, as you said, Nigeria is such a big, I mean, it's a huge country of 240 million people. And there's so many different expressions of what it means to be Nigerian. And I think art does a very good job of explaining some of these things. Even like Oshobo Art, for instance, it's located in the southwest part of Nigeria, and that speaks into a community there. And, Suka, is also like based in the east of Nigeria. And so I think it's very, as you said, it's very important for us to be able to share this and tell the world a bit more about Nigeria through art. Kavita, you've done lots of art fairs at in New York and just all over the States, actually. And I think even in India. I'm not sure. Maybe tell us where you've been to. But of course, I'm sure you obviously feel strongly that it's important. But what have you seen and what has it done to the Nigerian, the understanding of the outside world of Nigerian art? What do you think these exhibition of these fairs you've done the last few years, how's it transformed and how has it helped the general ecosystem in Nigeria?
Well, it's a story that started, I would say, about 20 years ago when really the auction house started, and we were able to showcase to the world what Nigerian modernism and contemporary art had to offer. And then Bonhams and Sotheby's took over, and then the Tate had an African Acquisition Committee, and so they came here a couple of times, and in fact came here in 2019 and decided we have to do a Nigerian modernism show. The world has to see what Nigeria has to offer. And so it was like 5 years in the making, and finally we have our big moment, which is the show at the Tate Modern, which started in October. It's been a blockbustering success. I mean, people
amazing.
And saying how incredible it is, and it was so well curated, and every part has a room. So the Oshogbo School has a room, the modernists have a room, Ladi Kwali has a room. So it's all like divided into the schools and into the periods that are happening. I think it's such an important moment today, with again the 10th anniversary of Artex, that it is Nigeria's moment. And I think to have this spotlight this year in Abu Dhabi, it's absolutely the perfect time with all that's going on, the interest that these shows have created. And I think the fairs, having gone to all the fairs, so we've actually done lots of countries. So we've been doing Frieze Masters. In fact, that was our first one, I think, that we started with abroad in London. And then we did the Armory in New York, we've done Untitled, we've done Chicago, and we're now doing Miami Basel this year, again with Mama Nike. We had Mama Nike at Frieze, we took her last year to Abu Dhabi, and we did Delhi Art Fair. So we've actually gone there, and in fact this year we're going to Singapore, so we're exploring the East and the Far East. And we've been doing Artex for the last 10 years. So we've done Cape Town last year. So we do a lot in the region as well, in Africa as well. And I think it's very important even for Cape Town or South Africa to see what we're doing over here and have that narrative. Because, we share, I mean, in Bonhams, the sale, modern contemporary African art is really primarily South Africa and Nigeria. So we've come into our prominence, and I think it's absolutely the moment to showcase what both contemporary and modern has to offer. A Nigerian modern and contemporary has to offer the world today, and I think it's going to be a really exciting moment in Abu Dhabi this year.
And how generally speaking, thank you for that. Thank you. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's definitely our moment. I think we're just in terms of film and fashion and music, and I think art is just is happening as well. So how has it sort of transformed as as an art art gallery business, having the opportunity? I mean, sometimes fairs are not the easiest things to do. Have you seen how important has it been for you? There are lots of galleries. This is really three of you here, but there are a couple of other galleries who are slightly younger, who this is probably like their first foray into fairs. So speaking generally and just speaking like to them, why is it important and why do you keep on doing it? And, you know, just a bit about that.
Well, I think a lot of people haven't seen what Africa has to offer. You know, most of the fairs don't have many African galleries, and especially not from the West. I mean, South Africa has always been a presence. You know, it's been at most of the art fairs, but from Nigeria and from West Africa, it's really just started in the last couple of years. And I think it's important because it's showcasing art which people have never really seen before. It's so different, so entirely different.
Absolutely.
You know, the modern and contemporary. We try and place it together if we can at fairs where we show a bit of modern and a bit of contemporary, so you can see the synergy between the two and how modern has progressed to the contemporary today. And we've had with the modern art especially, we've had so many institutions that have come our way that are so interested in buying, that have never thought of it and are putting it into their narrative, as well as contemporary. We've had many artists that we've taken that have also gone into institutions that are contemporary. So, you know, museums, collectors, everyone's looking for the new story, for the new narrative. And I think it's in America for sure, they want to put that narrative into place into a lot of their museums. And there are so many people around the world generally who want to see what Africa has to offer and are very excited about the color, the vibrancy. I mean, I think everyone who comes to Nigeria sees the vibrancy of the country and feels it. Like at Artex, it was so, I mean, the energy was incredible. And there were so many people that came our way and said that it has such an incredible, vibrant energy. And it's really bubbling at the moment with fashion, with art, with music. It really is a time where people are so creative and there's just so much happening here in Nigeria and in the continent. And I'm excited to be part of this story and part of this journey. It's an amazing experience. Every artist has such a wonderful story. Every artist is so creative and vibrant and so connected and now with the internet and the world being just one big place, you know, rather than being divided, there's so much that, you know, the interaction has to be there where people see what we're doing here, which can have similar stories to what people are doing in the Middle East. So I think we're becoming part of the whole narrative, which is incredible. And we're becoming, I mean, it doesn't have to just say that it's African art, as Richard had mentioned before. It's becoming international art. And I'm really proud to say I'm part of this journey. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for that. I think you're right. I think you made a really good point. I think sometimes the fairs, obviously people get to see, our works from our country. But I think beyond that, I think once you start having the acquisitions, they become institutionalized and people can see them for affairs of this 1 week, right? Once you have the Nigerian art or a prominent artist in a museum and it's a permanent collection, it means we are speaking into that kind of narrative of what's happening in the world, and we're actually part of the conversation. So I do think like fairs can be are like a wonderful stepping point for us to actually have permanent collections. People see the art beyond these fairs. So I think they also play a role in allowing us to get to this point as well. So I think we're going to just one more question, and I think we're going to probably open up to the floor. So I'd like to all you to sort of think about what does success look like following these? It's quite a long fair actually, because normally we used to sort of 5 days, but it's a bit different setup. We have a few sort of private days before it opens up to the public. What's your kind of expectation, and what does the success look like? I think I'll go to Richard. What would be amazing for you, and what's your expectation? I think it's exciting when we're all going. It's a wonderful trip to Nigeria. But for you personally, and also for your gallery, what are you expecting, and what is it? What would be amazing to take away from the experience?
Look, I mean, I think just the experience. I think it's going to be interesting learning about another culture, learning about sort of how they engage with this point of view that we're bringing to their country. Ayola is coming also to Abu Dhabi as well. So it's also it's a great opportunity for also artists to connect with another culture, to get different points of view and different perspectives of the world. So I'm more excited to have conversations with people. I think that's going to be the key sort of catalyst for me. Trying to understand what's also happening in that market, what's happening, how are they building structures, how are they developing their artistic landscape. It's an educational thing for me. So I'm always constantly trying to learn. I'm trying to understand. And so if I can come away with some more knowledge about another culture and also what's happening and how they've gone about building out their own infrastructures like the Louvre, and sort of key institutions that, we all have ambitions to develop in Nigeria ourselves. These are sort of key takeaways.
Absolutely. I think you raised a really important point about Abu Dhabi, actually. I think that's just so intentional about culture and how it's presented through, obviously, the Louvre there, the Guggenheim's coming, the Natural History Museum's coming. And I think there's a lot of learnings there for us in terms of we're so rich in culture, but how do we get to the point where we can present it in a way that the world can enjoy it and actually come to us as well? So so you're looking forward to the experience. I think that is going to be amazing. Sosah, what about you? What are you thinking? What are you expecting? And how are you feeling? And what would be great? What would be a success for you?
Yeah, I think I sort of concur. I'm in alignment with Richard. It's an educational experience for me. I'm looking forward to connecting. I'm looking forward to, Joseph is coming as well. And, for him to have that experience and see his work in a different context will be amazing. I'm looking forward to participating as part of the whole. So with Windsor and Oda, etc., that conversation as well. And just learning. It will be my first time in the Middle East at all, so I'd love to see it's my first time, so I want to see what synergies there are and learn and reconnect with some people, and the culture there. Like you guys said, there's so much that we can learn from the development of their cultural sector, and see how that can be replicated at home. So it's an educational experience. Again, the gallery is 1 year old, so everything is new and exciting for us, and it's only up from here. So
Thank you. And Kavita, last but not least, you're an old hand at this, so what are your, but I think it's like different coming with a few other Nigerian galleries. I think it'll be a lot of fun as well. So what are you expecting, and what obviously you've got the commission that's going on as well. So
I think it's going to be really exciting. It's the first time that Nigeria is showing as a spotlight. I think people do come and look at spotlights, and it's going to be so exciting because there's going to be a lot more contemporary. We bring a lot of modern, so this modern contemporary blend, I think, is going to be wonderful for people to see, the difference in the works. And with Mama Nike's commission, I think that really nails it. So we're very excited. We want everyone to come out there and have a look at what she's done. It's truly magnificent. And I hope all the gallerists are all going to come and make it out to her opening as well in LA. That would be just wonderful.
Yeah, it would be great. Everyone will hopefully come. Thank you so much, guys. I want to just while we're all here, just take the opportunity to really thank our sponsor, which is the Osaha Okumbo Foundation. They've been supporting Nigerian art through various platforms, one of which is a +234 art fair, which is for younger artists. And also this has been made mainly, most of it has been made possible through them. So just while we're here, just to acknowledge Osaha Okumbo, who is a collector and really believes strongly in the power of our storytelling, and particularly through art. He also believes in through film as well, but really supports the creative industry quite extensively. And on that note, I want to thank all the panelists, but I would like to open it up for questions. I don't know if Lena is still there. I don't know how we can do this, but maybe just anyone has any questions they'd like to ask any of the gallerists. It'd be great to hear from you, your thoughts about Nigerian art, and any questions surrounding any of the pieces that you saw earlier. Please feel free to do so. We're looking forward to connecting with all of you live in a few days. So I don't know if anyone, the hands, I can't see everything very well because I've got my little screen. So any questions?
I'm keeping an eye out.
Okay.
I'm keeping an eye out on the chat to see if anyone asks a question.
No? Nothing coming up for now?
No.
Okay, so I think, well, obviously we can, if questions come up, we can still take them. I think I'm just going to, I know I said that was my last question, but this isn't a question, it's actually a comment. So I'd just like to get final comments from our panelists. And I also want to note that there's a link which you can click on, which gives some of the pricing of the artworks, should you wish to, or information and pricing, should I say, about the artworks. If you want more information about any of the galleries here and any of the galleries who are featuring at the fair, then that's the link that just popped up there. And just like closing remarks from each of the galleries before we head off. So I think start with Sوسا. Final words.
I was honestly thinking, I was like, I hope I don't go fast. I don't know if
you can reiterate what you said. Anything that's like just important to you from the fair, feel free to just reiterate it, or just your final remarks on this wonderful collaboration with the two kind of governments and opportunity of the Abu Dhabi Art Fair.
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited for the fair. So final remarks, I'm very excited for the fair. I'm quite honored to be showcasing along Windsor, Oda, AMG, the other gallerists, and I'm looking forward to the cross-cultural dialogue. I'm looking forward to the questions and conversations. So I guess everyone who's on the call, I'm excited to hopefully meet you all and to discuss. I hope this is the beginning of a long and fruitful collaboration or relationship between our two countries and all the galleries in here. So thank you. And thank you very much, Ms. Akirele, for organizing this.
Pleasure. Thank you, Sوسا. That was great. Richard? Gone off?
Sure. Here we go. Yeah, I'm actually super excited. I mean, we've done a number of fairs this year across sort of Africa and Europe, but of course, this Middle Eastern opportunity represents, I think, a new sort of opportunity to connect with an audience that has also taken an active interest in what we're doing on the continent. So,
absolutely.
For us to have that sort of opportunity to interconnect and to find that intersection of both interest and also the opportunity to push our points of view and to push our artists' narratives, I think it's just an exciting time to be alive. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. If you don't find me at the fair, I will definitely be at the bar at Zuma. So just in case, it's a win-win for me. So I'm not really gonna just say more than that.
Thanks, Richard. Kavita.
Well, I think it's a great fair. We've been really happy with it. This is our 4th year coming back, and we're just excited that there are other Nigerian galleries that are going to be there, and we're going to be the spotlight. So I think that really adds a lot to our program and a lot to Nigeria on the whole. I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
Mm. Well, thank you to Lena and Alanud for just organizing this session. It's a beginning of a conversation, and which we're looking forward to sharing more of at the fair. And I think on that note, I think, is Lena there? Any final words from you, Lena?
No, that was a beautiful conversation. Thank you guys for speaking, and thank you for everyone who tuned in.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
And
Thank you.
we'll see you at the fair.
Bye.
See you at the fair. Bye-bye.
Bye.